Dear family and friends, on behalf of the Zahrai, Faizi and Mudabba families, I welcome you all today in a commemoration and celebration of the life of Ehsan Zahrai, a loving father, grandfather and a lover of humanity. Ehsan was an inspiration to us all and the embodiment of patience, love, compassion, selflessness, and an unquestioned loyalty to his faith, family, friends, and anyone who crossed his path. We will miss his warm and eternal smile, but are comforted by the fact that he is with the love of his life, his wife Zahrai, who passed in 2015. This year would have been their 65th year being married. We've also been very touched by the multitude of messages received from family and friends expressing their sympathy and support. And I note that we've got amongst us two people, lovely people who cared for him for the last 2 years. Welcome, lovely to see you here. I've extracted some of the statements which were common in the majority of these messages and which defined some of the characteristics of our father. Gentle, loving smile, warming the heart. Calm and steady. A wonderful soul. An exemplary life. Pure soul. Possessed a lovely character. A gentle and loving gentleman. A noble example to us all. Beautiful embodiment of a human being. We have been blessed and privileged to have our parents with us in Australia for the last 7 years, and today we farewell Ehsan and rejoice for his journey into the realm above. Today's program contains selected writings from Baha'i scripture and prayers and a few words from family members. At the end of this program, we will proceed to Mona Vale Cemetery for the reciting of the prayer for the departed and the final farewell. We invite you to join us for refreshments in the picnic area of the Baha'i Temple after the conclusion of the burial. I would appreciate you switching off your mobile phones. But before we start the program, very early this morning, we received a message from the Universal House of Justice. This was addressed to our family. The Universal House of Justice is the supreme body of the Baha'i faith. Dear Baha'i friends, the Universal House of Justice was saddened to learn of the passing of dearly loved stalwart follower of Baha'u'llah, Ehsan Zahrai. His devotion to the faith and the integrity and vigilance with which he rendered his significant services over decades to the community of the greatest name in Iran and in the Arab region, including his valuable contribution as a pioneer in Kuwait and as a member of the National Spiritual Assembly of Central Arabia, are recalled with profound gratitude. Rest assured of the ardent supplications of the House of Justice at the sacred threshold for the progress of his noble soul, now reunited with his beloved wife, Zahrai, in the Abha Kingdom. Prayers will also be offered for your comfort and solace at this time of loss. By copy of this letter, the National Spiritual Assembly of Kuwait is asked to arrange for a memorial service in honor of this dedicated servant of the cause of God. With loving Baha'i greetings. This copy went to the International Teaching Center, all the councillors, National Assembly of Australia, National Assembly of Kuwait, and the National Assembly of the United Kingdom.
From the time I was very little, I felt so incredibly lucky to be the daughter of my Babajun. His love was boundless and unconditional. It engulfed me and gave me a sense of total security. I never heard him utter a harsh word or hurtful comment. Instead, he was loving, supportive, and encouraging. He never asked anything of me, but I wanted to please him at every opportunity. As I grew up, I began to sense that there was something very special about my father. He was gentle, caring, selfless, and thankful at all times and under all conditions. Never, ever complaining, always grateful for the blessings in his life. These qualities remained constant in him to the end. During the last 2 years, when he was becoming progressively weaker, the love he showered on us never lost its potency. We came away replete with warmth and brimming with kindness. In the last few days of his life, when he was so weak he could hardly open his eyes, he would break into a smile because he could hear our voices. Even in the care home, he captivated the hearts of not only the staff but also the residents. This was because our dearest Baba genuinely loved friends and strangers alike and lavished affection on them. Our family was blessed to have Babajun in our lives, but there were many others from around the world who will speak of him with a special fondness, respect, and admiration. And it was through those people that we heard of his amazing achievements, because he never spoke of them himself. For example, my uncle told me recently that when Babajun was a teenager, he volunteered to go to a remote and primitive village for 1 year to serve the community. It's interesting to mention that he was encouraged by Ehsan's father to go there a long time before either of us were born. In this place called Chale Zamin, literally meaning pit of the earth, and I'm told aptly so, the children had no schools and the adults no access to the sacred writings. So this young man taught the children reading, writing, and arithmetic, and translated volumes of the writings with his beautiful handwriting and made books for the adults so that they could have their own copies. When the revolution happened in Iran, communication ceased between the Baha'is of the Middle East and the Baha'i World Center in Haifa. For many years, my father, who was based in London, served the Universal House of Justice as liaison between the two regions in order to maintain contact. The friends from Iran, who felt so isolated from the rest of the world, relied on him for this two-way relaying of information and news. We heard that, to this day, letters addressed to him are still being received in Haifa. I'm not going to elaborate on my father's services. It would take volumes to adequately describe them. No doubt someone with a talent for penmanship will write a book one day. But just to give you a glimpse into how other people saw him, here is an example. Mr. Ehsan Zahrai always had an immaculate presentation and an organized mind that was so well camouflaged by his quiet and unassuming posture. A man I worked with closely and admired in him the qualities seldom found in others. His politeness, kindness, and fatherly warmth only embellished his abundantly refined character. His services to the cause, as important as they were, remained well cloaked by his self-effacing demeanor. Today, we say farewell to a silent warrior of Baha. He goes forth on his final journey burdened only with blessed deeds. It was an honor to have shared moments of his life with him, and his departure will leave behind a void in our hearts that can only be filled by the joy of his remembrance.
I remember celebrating my father's 94th in February of this year and being amazed of how lively and well he was at the time, especially having survived 2 operations on his brain to actually remove some a brain hemorrhage a few years ago. So we were delighted that we could enjoy his presence and continue to receive his kindness and love that he had always showered us throughout his life. I thought this will continue for a little while longer, but obviously after his health started to deteriorate rapidly, we knew that this day would arrive soon. Regardless of how prepared you are, it is hard to accept that we'll never be able again experience his beaming smile every time you visited him. I consider myself very lucky to have spent the last few years with him alongside my family and siblings. Most of you would know and be aware of his selfless life of service to the Baha'i faith. But as a father, the lessons he taught me was not so much because of what he said, but more to do with how he lived his life. However, on those rare occasions he would feel that he needs to say something, I would actually pay attention and take notice. However, what I'd like to reflect on today is the lessons I learned from him in the last few years of his life, which has had the most significant impact on me. Despite the fact that the operation on his brain had affected his speech, he nevertheless continued to attract the hearts of everyone who crossed his path. His infectious smile was not exclusive to his family and friends, but shared with all the residents and the staff at the care home he was living in. The staff would repeatedly claim that he was the kindest and most content guest they had ever cared for. This indeed was the true nature of the man we all knew. The lesson I learned from him was that love breaks through any physical limitations or barriers. I can rest assured that he is now in a much better place, free from the shackles of this earthly existence, and will be no stranger as he reunites with his dear friends and his one true companion, my mother Zahrai, who has been waiting to welcome him with open arms.
Dear friends, I just wanted to share some personal memories of my dad with you. As you know, he was always gentle and calm, but he also had a great sense of humor and was so much fun to be with. I remember hugging him really hard and kissing him on both cheeks over and over again in rapid succession, and he would just laugh. Amongst the many games we would play, one was a memory game, and he always won effortlessly. As little children in Iran, we were used to our father feeding us fruit lovingly cut into bite-sized pieces while we watched television. Always happy, always there, always kind, and ready to give you his full attention. In Iran, every morning, as he waited with me for the school bus, he would take the opportunity to teach me the long obligatory prayer in Arabic. He would get up earlier than everyone during the fasting period, prepare breakfast, set the table, and then wake everyone up. For many years, I didn't have an alarm clock, since I would wake up to the sound of his voice chanting a prayer. So lucky and grateful to have had him as a father. I'm so happy he is now reunited with our dear mother, the love of his life, in the land of light. Love you, Babaji. From the sweet scented streams of thine eternity, give me to drink, O my God. And of the fruits of the tree of thy being, enable me to taste, O my hope. From the crystal springs of thy love, suffer me to quaff, O my glory. and beneath the shadow of thine everlasting providence let me abide, O my light. Within the meadows of thy nearness, before thy presence, make me able to roam, O my beloved. And at the right hand of the throne of thy mercy, seat me, O my desire. From the fragrant breezes of thy joy, let a breath pass over me, O my goal. And into the heights of the paradise of thy reality, let me gain admission, O my adored one. To the melodies of the dove of thy oneness, suffer me to hearken, O resplendent one. And through the spirit of thy power and thy might, quicken me, O my provider. In the spirit of thy love, keep me steadfast, O my succorer. And in the path of thy good pleasure, set firm my steps, O my maker. Within the garden of thine immortality, before thy countenance, let me abide forever. O thou who art merciful unto me, and upon the seat of thy glory stablish me, O thou who art my possessor. To the heaven of thy loving kindness lift me up, O my quickener, and unto the day star of thy guidance lead me, O thou my attractor. Before the revelations of thine invisible spirit summon me to be present, O thou who art my origin and my highest wish, and unto the essence of the fragrance of thy beauty, which thou wilt manifest, cause me to return, O thou who art my God. Potent art thou to do what pleaseth thee. Thou art verily the most exalted, the all-glorious, the all-highest.
O my God, verily thy servant, humble before the majesty of thine divine supremacy, lowly at the door of thy oneness, hath believed in thee and in thy verses, hath testified to thy word, hath been enkindled with the fire of thy love, hath been immersed in the depth of the ocean of thy knowledge, hath been attracted by thy breezes, hath relied upon thee, hath turned his face to thee, hath offered his supplication to thee, and hath been assured of thy pardon and forgiveness. He hath abandoned this mortal life, and hath flown to the kingdom of immortality, yearning for the favor of meeting thee. O Lord, glorify his station, shelter him under the pavilion of thy supreme mercy. Cause him to enter thy glorious paradise and perpetuate his existence in thine exalted rose garden, that he may plunge into the sea of light in the world of mysteries. Verily thou art the generous, the powerful, the forgiver, and the bestower.
O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty ancient, imperishable, and everlasting.
O Son of Love, thou art but one step away from the glorious heights above, and from the celestial tree of love. Take thou one pace, and with the next advance into the immortal realm, and enter the pavilion of eternity. Give ear then to that which hath been revealed by the pen of glory. O Son of Spirit, with the joyful tidings of light, I hail thee. Rejoice. To the court of holiness I summon thee. Abide therein, that thou mayst live in peace evermore. O Son of Justice, whither can a lover go but to the land of his beloved? And what seeker findeth rest away from his heart's desire? To the true lover, reunion is life, and separation is death. His breast is void of patience, and his heart hath no peace. A myriad lives he would forsake to hasten to the abode of his beloved.
Whither can a lover go to the land of his beloved? And what seeker findeth rest away from his heart's desire? To the true lover, reunion is life. To the true lover, separation is death. His breast is void of patience, and his heart hath no peace. His breast is void of patience, and his heart hath no peace. A myriad lives he would forsake to hasten. A myriad lives he would forsake to hasten to the abode of his beloved.
Consider the light of the lamp. Though an external object may interfere with its radiance, the light itself continueth to shine with undiminished power. In like manner, every malady afflicting the body of man is an impediment that preventeth the soul from manifesting in it its inherent might and power. When it leaveth the body, however, it will evince such ascendancy and reveal such influence as no force on earth can equal. Every pure, every refined and sanctified soul will be endowed with tremendous power and shall rejoice with exceeding gladness.
Praise be thou, O Lord my God. This is thy servant who hath quaffed from the hands of thy grace the wine of thy tender mercy. and tasted of the savour of thy love in thy days. I beseech thee by the embodiments of thy names, whom no grief can hinder from rejoicing in thy love, or from gazing on thy face, and whom all the hosts of the heedless are powerless to cause to turn aside from the path of thy pleasure, to supply him with the good things thou dost possess, and to raise him up to such heights that he will regard the world even as a shadow that vanishes swifter than the twinkling of an eye. Keep himself also, O my God, by the power of thine immeasurable majesty, from all that thou abhorrest. Thou art verily the Lord, his Lord, and the Lord of all the worlds.
O my God, thy trust hath been returned unto thee. It behoveth thy grace and thy bounty that have compassed thy dominions on earth and in heaven. It behoveth thy grace and thy bounty that have encompassed thy dominions on earth and in heaven, to vouchsafe unto thy newly welcomed one thy gifts and thy bestowals and the fruits of the tree of thy grace. Powerful art thou to do as thou willest. There is none other God but thee, the gracious, the most bountiful, the compassionate, the bestower, the pardoner, the precious, the all-knowing. Love you, my Maggie.
Please stand, thank you.